This is literally just a vote blue no matter who unless they're too
No, it's a let's discuss the facts and how you weigh them conversation.
Here, how about this? Biden can be 10 times better than Trump. Let's concede that for the sake of argument. I'm not voting for him. And millions of other people feel the same way because it has absolutely nothing to do with that. I don't know how else to express this to you guys.
Okay, so I think this has been the conversation that's been needed within the Democratic Party for a long time now. Now, let me just make a disclaimer here. I used to, and you can even see this in my earlier videos, you can kind of see the transformation. Like, it's crazy. I used to believe in the Democratic Party, not because they've done a lot for me, but more so it felt like the Democratic Party is the only party that could at least get to the position, I feel, in my opinion, that would benefit majority of Americans, if not all. You know what I'm saying? So the Republican Party, no, not even close. They're going a whole different direction, okay? Now, now my view is the Republican and the Democratic Party are two sides of the same coin. They do not essentially care about me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm to the point to where I'm tired of the breadcrumbs. I know this country can give its citizens more than what it's doing now. We know that for a fact. When COVID-19 happened, all of a sudden this money came from somewhere. With the Ukraine war, all of a sudden this money is coming from somewhere. I know America can do more, but we got too many greedy people on both sides. I'm sick and tired of both sides now. You know what I'm saying? So that said, Briahna, Greyjoy, and Kyle Kulinski and Crystal Ball, they have a conversation. And to be fair, I think Briahna, she needed to bring a second person because why? You know what I'm saying? Like, just the conversation and just how much time speaking was just unfair. You know what I'm saying? But that's beyond the point. But let's go ahead. We're going to take 3 clips from this interview. If you want to watch the entire thing, go to their YouTube channels. Go ahead and watch the whole thing. I'm pretty sure you have by now. But these are probably the 3 standout moments of this interview that I think is really important to talk about and have a conversation. So let's go ahead, watch these clips, and let's have that conversation.
Joe Biden having some good NLRB appointments.
So let me actually,
and then I want to jump into it.
So number one, I don't think that in like massively increasing union density, I actually don't see that as incremental change. I mean, if you look at the chart of the decline in the middle class and the decline of union density, you'd be hard pressed to find a more significant factor.
I made these arguments as well.
But the other piece is, I feel like those same people who are right about the Democratic Party, they were right, right about the analysis in Listen Liberal, right about the fact that you had, this free trade bipartisan consensus, and in large part a union busting bipartisan consensus, also don't acknowledge that there actually has been a notable shift in the Biden administration. Now, my big issue with the Biden administration, I mean, there's a million of them, right? On foreign policy, I've got problems. But my biggest issue economically with the Biden administration is the way they've allowed the pandemic relief, the short-term pandemic relief programs to fall away and leave a lot of ordinary Americans in a more precarious financial position now than they were at the beginning of the administration. And that's not nothing. But when I look at the long term, when I look at the fact that, listen, with the Inflation Reduction Act, with the CHIPS Act, with infrastructure investment, you're talking about industrial policy in a way that would have been completely unheard of in the Clinton-Obama era. When you look at not just the NLRB, which I said is like the core for me, but also his antitrust appointments and the fact they're really trying to reverse decades of neoliberal attack on any sort of trust busting, I feel like none of those improvements that have made Biden on that front way better than Obama, way better than Clinton, I just feel like there's no willingness to acknowledge any of that whatsoever.
I don't think the issue is acknowledging it. It's how much it matters to you, how weighty that is to you, and how much you see those kind of meaningful, call them meaningful, improvements as really core to the nature of the project that you're on. And I think that what some people are frustrated by is that this went from feeling like, in both left media and left politics, a bigger revolutionary project that was going to the core of our capitalist system and wanting to radically change the way that human lives are valued, what we consider to be the nature of our social safety net, what we believe to be the nature of what we consider to be human rights. And they wanted to join a movement that validated what many of us felt intrinsically, emotionally for most of our lives, that something in the milk very much wasn't clean. And Bernie came along and articulated that it was legitimate for us to be asking for something more. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, it does
So let me go ahead and pause it right there, because I think she makes a good point that was kind of just skipped, kind of just walked over. I guess we could say it was Bernie's fault. It was essentially Bernie's fault in a good way, because like she said, that gave the American people, or at least the people who wanted to vote for Bernie, that we can ask for more and we should expect more from our government, from our parties, from our people who we are voting for. We should be asking for more and they should be giving more. So, when someone's going out there saying, I'm trying to increase minimum wage, I'm trying to improve the cost of education, I'm trying to get you free Medicare, Medicare for all, it's like that actually sounds pretty daggone good. I mean, other countries is doing it and they chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not a third world country. They doing their business over there. You know what I'm saying? So now we're kind of expecting. They done let the cat out the bag. Now we're like, hey, whoa, hold on. He done offered that before. How come you can't offer that? You know what I'm saying? So he done kind of raised the standard, and that's, I think, the core of this conversation here is, what is your standard? Because if your standard is low, you're not really expecting much. They do one half-ass thing, you're jumping for joy. You're celebrating. You bringing out the expensive glassware and having drinks, But people who set their standards higher and they do something down here, you're like, what do you want? Pat on the back? You want a cookie or something? What you mean? Get back in there and do something. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my point. So let's continue here.
Feel as though there has been a kind of a bait and switch. It's not that what you're describing isn't true or legitimate. And I said this on my podcast. If your priorities are what you have kind of articulated your priorities as being, I think it's a perfectly legitimate argument. But I have to hold space for the fact that for many people, it simply is inadequate.
Wait, can I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me jump in here. So my issue is that many people on the left are, I would say, dishonestly refusing to acknowledge any good things that were done. We can all on the left list, like, here's the 57 things we hate that Biden did. But when something good happens, I'm the only one talking about it, and then I get accused of being a DNC shill. Now, I'm not blind. I think in order to be intellectually honest, you have to look at, here's the good things that happen, here's the bad thing that happened, I'm going to give them all to you, and then you could judge how much you value each and which one you weigh more and how that factors into your voting analysis. But I was like the poster boy back in the day, where people viewed.
But see, that's the problem. He just spoke out both side of his neck right now. He said, I'm going to give you all the things he's done, good and bad, and you decide how to prioritize those accomplishments or failures, and that's on you. But like Briahna and I said, is that's not what's important to me. You might like the infrastructure bill or whatever the case is, but I'm looking for police reform. I'm looking for prison reform. I'm looking for some sort of defund the police that you ran on. That's what's important to me. What did you do for minimum wage? What about healthcare? Oh, but you want to rattle off a whole bunch of things that I'm giving him credit for because he obviously did it, but that's not on my top 10 most important list. But Kyle just said it's up to you to figure it out. But now he wants to cry and sit here, oh, but no one's celebrating with me because I'm the only one that's jumping for joy and doing backflips. It's like, because that's what's important to you. Let him accomplish something that's important to me, and then I'll be doing backflips with you. But until then, I'm sitting over here. I'm waiting, which, you know, Biden only got so long. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little frustrating.
Me this way, as like, he's the purity tester. He's like the main purity tester guy. And I didn't vote for Biden in 2020 because I didn't think he would pass my purity test. Now, at the time, people could go back and watch the video. My purity test was super fucking lenient. It was like, if I'm convinced you're going to do like 2 or 3 of the things that I value highly, then I would vote for you. Because I know it's basically down to just the Democrat and the Republican, no matter how much we want to wish the Green Party or Libertarians want to wish the Libertarian Party into existence. And so when I look at the record, again, I could list all the bad things, but you just mentioned the NLRB raising overtime pay, or you mentioned the thing where, you know, they automatically recognize the union if the bosses try to bust it up. There's also the overtime pay rule where now it's not $33,000, it's about $55,000 a year, where now you get overtime pay. That's a huge, huge change. Student loan debt reduction, and even Biden even coming back after the Supreme Court tried to slap it down, and he said, no, I'm going to try to do it through the Higher Education Act now. There's little things we could go after him. Oh, the interest rate. Yes, that's bad. I agree with you on that. But we got to recognize that that is, all things considered, a step in the right direction. Pulling out of Afghanistan, he actually had the balls to do it, even when the media was shitting on him relentlessly. And I didn't see anybody on the left coming into his defense at that point in time.
I saw a lot of people
I was like the only fucking one. It was like me and Matt Iglesias.
I definitely defended him.
Okay, well, then it's like 3 people. I didn't, and all these, oh, I'm so anti-war. He pulls out of Afghanistan, and it gets messy, because that's what happens when you pull out of wars. And all of a sudden, oh my God, you know, it's the end of the world.
I thought that was actually a good moment for the left. I saw a lot of consensus. Good on you, because we almost resented and kind of were enjoying the extent to which he was getting, you know, dogpiled by the mainstream media, and we were the only ones defending him. So I would quibble with that a little bit. But
I didn't see much defending him. I really didn't.
Kyle, what?
Okay, so once again, it seems like Kyle wants people to be as excited for what is deemed important to him, but doesn't want to be disappointed for things that I deem disappointing. He's trying to be like, you know what, I essentially am the master of the purity test, and if I think he's credible or successful, then you should think that too. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. I have my own priority list. You have yours. I use my vote. You use your vote. That's how that democracy works. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's weird. And I wish Briahna would have caught that out. Like, you just hit him over the head. Like, that's what's important to you. Stop trying to ram that down my throat. It doesn't work like that. What's important to you, because you want to set your standards so low to where a dog can probably, pass for president, for his, purity test. That doesn't mean I have to stoop that low too. My standard is high. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said at the beginning, we as American people deserve more than just crumbs. When we know they have the whole loaf of bread in the kitchen and they eating it. The 1%, they eating all the bread. But then when the American people get all, crazy and riled up, oh, here's a few crumbs. Take a few crumbs. Now shut the hell up. That's what it seems like. So it is what it is.
What people are responding to, if I can offer this, is not the idea that you are accurately describing advancements, good things that Joe Biden is doing. I think you could also say Obama did some good things.
No, Biden is way better than Obama, not even close.
That's not the point I'm making. Okay. It's not that one is better than the other. You could also sit here and say Obama did good things. Now, the way you bristled at me saying that, I could say, oh, why won't you just acknowledge that Obama did good things? The same way that you're saying that leftists won't acknowledge, they bristle when you acknowledge that Biden did good things. And it's because we have different standards and we're making different kinds of comparisons.
But that's not my issue, because they're not even acknowledging the good things is my point. I have a list of 47.
Jesus Christ, we are acknowledging. I made a list of 47 things. It took me a long time to come up with this list, and no one wants to be appreciative. Like, bro, get off your pedestal. Jesus Christ, just because you put up a list doesn't mean everyone's going to jump for joy and just be like, ecstatic. Like, bro, get off your pedestal. It's like once he dyed his hair, he just felt like his opinion, his list of 47 things is more superior than everybody else's. It's like, bro, we done gave him his credit. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always said on this channel, give credit when credit was due. Donald Trump did a few good positive things when he was president, but overall he was pretty trash. You know what I'm saying? But give credit when credit is due. I give Joe Biden his credit. He's doing something. He's not just sitting on his hands the whole 4 years. I appreciate that, I guess. But he still hasn't kept his promises that I looked forward to, like I told you. You know what I'm saying? If he wants to be president for all people, he needs to make sure he's covering all bases and not just Kyle Kulinski's list of things that needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? But Kyle, he just keeps crying about his damn list. It's like, bro, half of that stuff most Americans don't give a damn about. Like, bro, what is going to affect me? And that's my minimum wage. That's health care. Because trust me, in Colorado, you know what I'm saying? Just overall living, I need to make sure I can take care of myself and my family. And with inflation and these companies squeezing out the life out of people for very little pay, that is not going to help. So
things here, and I've heard nobody talk about any of them.
But let me get to the core of this point. The reason that people are frustrated with that kind of analysis is because it's been used for so long by liberals to justify why people shouldn't be asking for more. I'm not saying that that's what you're doing. But if you bring up something like student debt, when the consensus of all of the student debt experts that I've talked to on my podcast, people from the Debt Collective, the Asher Taylors of the world, the legal experts I've brought on, is that there was a path toward doing this, to canceling all student debt that would not have been stymied by the Supreme Court. The same authority that Donald Trump used to enact the student debt moratorium, which has been ongoing until the beginning of this month for the last 3 years, was the same authority that he could have canceled all student debt with a stroke of a pen. He chose not to do that because he decided to means test the program. He circulated those documents. I got one in my inbox last August, I believe it was, to see if you qualify for student debt. It was a very easy form. But when he did that, that started the clock for people to be able to challenge it in court, which what 6 states did, 2 of them were successful, and now here we are today. Not only did he decline to do the unstoppable mechanism to actually cancel all student debt, he additionally chose to use a legal authority, which when many legal experts said was the most vulnerable one. So you're now saying, well, he could have used the Higher Education Act.
He did. He did. He
could have done that in the first instance.
But he didn't, and now he tried it again through the Higher Education Act. The idea that it's a conspiracy, he doesn't want to actually cancel it. No, he appealed the case like 4 or 5 times.
Kyle,
and then at the end of it, when the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that, he said, fuck you, I can. And he did the Higher Education Act. That's exactly what we wanted him to do. Then he does it, and people go, oh, that's not good enough. And it's like, that's ridiculous.
There, Kyle, what we wanted him to do was first and foremost, just cancel the student debt.
I expected him to do nothing on student debt. This is the point I'm trying to get across to you, is that I expected...
Oh my God. Okay. It seems like he's not hearing himself speak, because he gave the answer right there. Well, he could have done that. Well, why didn't he do that at first? Are you telling me he's incompetent of knowing how his own government functions and what's going to be denied right off the bat? And I read some of these stupid articles. Once again, like I have to I didn't go to college. I don't have college debt. So this conversation shouldn't even really be important to me. But, for the sake of being in this conversation, I read it. Some people did say that, hey, it was kind of weird that Biden decided to go this route, kind of knowing it was going to get shut down. So he should have went to... Why he did it, I don't know. I'm not big in conspiracies. I don't really want to be like, nah, Biden has a secret agenda to where he doesn't want people's... I don't know. But once again, is he incompetent? Does he have incompetent people around him? How come he didn't know this? He's been in government for how long? Probably most of his adult life. I don't know. He's been in government probably longer I've been alive. I think that's true. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? If this was Trump and he was, a Democratic Trump, he would have got this done. He ain't worried about what people saying. He is not even worried about what his own party is saying about him. Trump would have got this done easy. But no, I guess Joe Biden's playing like 4D chess, right? Because he went this way knowing it was going to get shut down. So he used that to set this. It's like, I guess, I don't know. His 4 years is almost up. I guess, maybe, you know what I'm saying? So once again, it's all about what's important to you. And did he accomplish that? And once again, it's like, if you promised, you promised. Joe Biden did say, I'm going to try. Maybe if I can kind of get the right. Joe Biden got presidency. And I believe the House and the Senate was Democrats. So what excuse do we got? I don't know. It just seems a little weird to me. Just get it done. That was your promise. Get it done, but you didn't, so you fail.
No, that's not what I'm not. I don't mean to mischaracterize you, but that is.
But I'm
naive.
Listen, that's fine, and I agree with you. Left is going to be smeared, but the question is, what is actually going to move the ball forward?
I'm confused by why you keep asking that.
Because I don't see.
Because policy is all that matters at the end of the day.
I don't see how Cornel West getting 5% and helping to reelect Trump ends up with things going in a better direction.
Like that, Crystal? He gets 5%, and then the Green Party, a third party effort, it gets stronger and more well-funded and more able to compete in future elections.
Until we have ranked choice voting, there is no even 1% viability for them. Can you admit that? Can you acknowledge that it's until we get ranked choice voting, no third party has any chance in hell. You agree with that, right?
Has been doing most of the ranked choice. Who do you think?
I'm not going to answer it. It's a simple question.
I'm going to answer it in my own time, in my own words, Kyle. Respectfully.
It's a simple one. The ranked choice voting thing, if we get ranked choice voting.
I go around, I do a lot of podcasts. And I don't know what's going on right now. It might be the phase of the moon. We had the double moon last month. But I'm getting a little frustrated with feeling shouted down and disrespected in every single space that I go into. I got to say, I promise I'm going to answer your question, Kyle. Sit tight. I got it coming for you.
I'll sit tight.
Who do you think has been doing the bulk and the best funded ranked choice voting advocacy in terms of getting it on ballots and getting it passed in the United States of America?
Third-party voters.
The Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
Because unlike the Green Party, I'm no fan of the Libertarian Party, but for obvious reasons, they were enormously better funded than the Green Party. And they, as a consequence, have been able to make much greater gains and actually getting ranked choice voting passed around the country. What I'm saying is that there's a tangible material benefit to getting more money for a Green Party, whatever third party happens to be, but right now all we have is the Green Party for obvious reasons. Getting them more money to do the work across the country to advance third parties, ranked choice voting rather, is exactly the goal that you're articulating. So yes, I do see a direct connection between your goal, your stated goal of getting ranked choice voting and voting for the Green Party. You know who's not going to fight for ranked choice voting?
Who?
The Democratic Party.
Exactly.
Here's my point.
Okay, so this is the point that Kyle seems to not understand. And he is the champion of this party, okay? Why on God's beautiful green earth? God's beautiful green earth. It's a sunny day right now. It's a beautiful day. Why will the Democratic Party ever support ranked choice voting? Why? They already got their ace their ace in the hole, which is, Republican bad, Republican, are going to destroy democracy, Republican, which, that's right on so many levels. So why would they try to fix something that's not broken for them? You see what they did to Bernie, right? You see what they're doing to Marianne Williamson. So why would they ever try to make it a little bit easier for a third party to come in and be a little bit more of a party than a Democratic and Republican Party? Why would they do that? Why would they shoot themselves in their own foot? It's not going to happen. So, I mean, why does he keep just shouting this out like this is the cure to all things?
There's not even a 1% chance or a 0.1% chance of Cornel West winning unless or until we get ranked choice voting. So I have to be honest, I feel like it's self-disenfranchisement to really like put all your effort into third parties before we get ranked choice, putting the cart before the horse, in my opinion. That's my point. And on the issue of Democrats versus Republicans.
But then why should black folks, and you know, I'm speaking for myself because I am black, and a lot of Republicans, they this is like their only line that they have for black voting Democrats. Why keep voting for the Democratic Party when they ain't doing nothing for you? And like I said, what the Democratic Party does is they're good. They are the master of giving you breadcrumbs. They got that down to a science, giving you breadcrumbs. Well, at some point, if I give my vote to Cornel West, okay, Cornel doesn't win, Trump might win, I lose. I give my vote to Joe Biden, he gives me a couple crumbs, I'm still in the same situation I was 5 years ago, 10 years. What? I lose. So what difference does it make? I mean, I can tell you the long-term difference this could make, which I would, you know, share at the end. But, you know, Mr. Kulinski is sitting here explaining like, you know, hey, we're all going to win if we vote for Joe Biden. Well, like he already had 4 years. And if anything, my situation is a lot harder because of inflation and everything else that's involved in that. But we just pouring down money for this Ukraine thing, huh? I'm just saying it don't make sense.
Republicans, we know either the Democrat or the Republican is going to win, and clearly we have a disagreement in terms of how good of a job Joe Biden is doing. Because like I said, I expected nothing of him, Briahna. I expected, this is the guy who brought us the Iraq War and the Patriot Act and NAFTA, and he's like the poster child of the conservative Democrat and the neoliberal, but then he gets in office.
But Kulinski, just because you had little standards, just because you are the individual who has low standards for your political ideas here, that's your fault. Like, I hope you have higher standards in other parts of your life, but for folks like me, knowing history, knowing the present, and envisioning a better future, my standards is up to here, bruh. You know, like, they could be higher, but, you know, I try to keep that in the realm of reality. But trust me, I'm forcing the reality limit here. And Joe Biden is not that guy. He does not want to mess up his reputation of, you know, he doesn't want to be known as a socialist. He doesn't want to be the president known to just give free stuff to people, even though, I mean, hey, that's a whole nother conversation. America's been giving free stuff to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So let's not act like that's a new thing now. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, if Mr. Kulinski wants to have low standards to where a freaking, you know, rabbit can be president one day because his standards are so. Do you have a heartbeat? Okay, can you sit in a chair? Can you sign a paper? All right, you president. You pass my purity test. Way to go. I'm gonna have a party every day just for you. That's his purity test. It's like, okay, that's good for you that you checked everything off your list, but my list is like 2-3 pages, bruh. Okay, so.
And he does all these things which shock me. He massively reduced the drone war by over 90%. He, like I said, pulled out of Afghanistan. The Supreme Court overturned the EPA's ability to regulate greenhouse gas emissions. And the Democrats slipped into the IRA a provision that redefines carbon as a pollutant, which then allows the EPA to start protecting the environment again. If we didn't get that, and yes, that was brought to us by Democrats, we would be beyond fucked on the issue of climate change. We still are.
Okay. Once again, climate change is important, but guess what? My family eating is important. Guess what? Me working a job that pays a decent wage is also important. You know what is important? if I was to get sick, I'm not gonna get screwed by the hospital. That's also important. You know what else is important? One day I can send my kids off to college. That's important. Now, okay, yeah, you know, if this thing we call Earth explodes, then I guess we're all just screwed here. But until the meantime, between time, hey, I need to make sure that my family is taken care of. And I'm pretty sure every American would agree with the same thing. So this whole EPA and you know, blah, blah, and they just made sure, like, okay, great job. Congratulations. But that, hey, that's like 47th on my list right now. Okay, I can check that. Boom, I checked it. But can we start knocking some of the stuff at the top before we get down to, you know, what's important on, you know, number 108? You know what I'm saying? So once again, it's whatever is important to you.
But we'd be even more fucked if the EPA couldn't do basic EPA stuff. We have project labor agreements for hundreds of thousands of construction workers. That came to us from Biden. $15 minimum wage for federal contractors and employees. That's from Biden. Gun reform with red flag laws and closing the boyfriend loophole. Those are definitely good things.
I want more gun control. And I'm a big fan of the Second Amendment. Oh, trust me, I am. I'm trying to go to the shooting range a couple weeks from now. But once again, with all these mental deranged people buying legal guns in committing crime, like mass murders, like they bought the gun so they could do that. Not they had the gun for like 5-10 years and then all of a sudden they just went crazy and they already had the gun. What happened in Florida just a few weeks ago, he was already institutionalized some years ago. And he was still able to buy a gun, a legal one at that, and then went down to where black folks live to just kill black folks. I don't care. I don't give a damn about no boyfriend loophole. Okay, we need stricter gun control. In a perfect example, and I said this in like 4 or 5 videos. Go ahead and look, but. Switzerland, they have way more harsher gun controls than we do, and they own more guns than we do. I don't see nobody crying over there, oh, they're taking our gun. They have little kids shooting guns, and it's a thing. It's a popular thing over there. But you telling me America's too fragile to put a little bit more restrictions on things that actually kill people? But once again, oh, Biden closed the boyfriend. I don't give a damn about the loophole or its boyfriend. Okay? To be honest, can we put some more actual restrictions so these crazy folks don't go kill more of my people for no reason at all? Because we're black. Oh my God, that's the reason? Come on.
Ketanji Brown Jackson on the court. A George Floyd executive order to create a the boyfriend loophole. Those are definitely good things. Ketanji Brown Jackson on the court.
He, Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, once again, I can't tell you Biden's reason for doing things. I don't know his heart like that. But to be honest, once again, that was just a virtual signaling to black folks. Like, hey, black folks, look what I did. I put a black person on the court. Okay, great job. Okay, see, boom, you get thumbs up, but that doesn't impress me. You know what I'm saying? Just, hey, come on, do something that's substantive over here. I appreciate that, and I'm pretty sure she does, but that's not gonna win me over for the next 4 years. You see what I'm saying? So try again, buddy.
A George Floyd executive order to create a registry of abusive cops. Good things.
Play that
Brown
again?
Jackson on the court. A George Floyd executive order to create a registry of abusive cops.
But didn't Joe Biden run saying that he was going to defund the police and enact this and this, but then he ends up giving more money to the police and actually saying we need to fund police officers more? Once again, you completely did a 180. That's not what you told me at the beginning. I don't know.
We have the PACT Act, which is healthcare for veterans exposed to toxic burn pits, which every single Republican voted against. He added 800,000 manufacturing jobs. I didn't expect any of these things. So when I talk about Biden the way I do, is because none of these things were on the menu, and we got them. So now when I look at the fact it's either going to be Trump or Biden, a standard generic Republican or standard generic Democrat, the way I feel now versus the way I felt in the past is like, oh, this is definitely way better. If you asked me in 2019 or 2020, I'd be like, I don't know, man, flip a coin. 52%, maybe a Democrat's a little bit better than a Republican. Now I'm looking at it like, it's not even close. One blows the other out of the water, and all I care about is the policy. And when we have all these policies, I mean, we have a 15% corporate minimum tax rate now. That is not something we had previously. You'd have corporations paying nothing in taxes, or they'd even get a negative tax rate, which is a subsidy effectively from the taxpayers. These things are not nothing. We have a 1% tax on stock buybacks. They're
Oh my God. Once again, to be honest, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I don't care about that. I don't care. I don't care because first and foremost, these mega companies, they got mega lawyers, okay? They will find a way to get around some stuff, okay? This is what they get paid to do. Is find loopholes, okay? If anybody can find a loophole, it's them, okay? So, okay, that's cool, but to be honest, I couldn't feel the difference. How is that affecting me on a day-to-day basis? You see what I'm saying? So it's like I'm pretty sure a Trump supporter could list off a whole bunch of things that Trump did, which you would have to get credit for because he did it, but you're not going to do that. You see what I'm saying? Or you're not going to care. So once again, 1% for the corporations to pay and okay, great job. I think these corporations need a lot more restrictions, a lot more reforming, but I mean, okay, sure. He gets one of these. Okay, so
cracking down on wealthy tax cheats. Like, all these things are very good. They're objectively good. So do you agree that Biden is better than what we expected on the left?
Maybe you've already said that your expectations are on the ground, and it seems like he's surpassed your expectations. He has not surpassed mine. I don't know what you want me to say.
But he's not better than what you thought?
No,
that's honest
he's not
question.
better than what I thought he would.
Really?
No.
So you expected to be better than I did, for sure.
I expected him to... Well, I didn't really expect him to fulfill his campaign promises, but I'm not going to pat him on the back when he so flagrantly lied about them, no.
But let me ask you a related but different question. I mean, how do you assess the difference between a Trump and a Biden? Acknowledging that, I mean, I think you would acknowledge it's not, Cornel West is not going to be president.
I'm going to be honest with you. If it's about convincing me how Briahna Joy Gray is going to vote, Briahna Joy Gray lives in D.C., is constructively disenfranchised, and Briahna Joy Gray also is sympathetic to accelerationist arguments. So I am not afraid of Trump, and I am not going
to.
I will never for the rest of my life, I don't care if I live in Pennsylvania, I don't care if I live in Georgia, vote out of fear. That's not who I am. That's not who I was raised. That's just me. And I recognize that I am radical. I recognize I'm not telling anybody to be like me, but that's who I am.
So, but just to get back to the question.
That right there is the difference right there. You can call her, an extreme leftist. You can call her radical. You can call her a progressive. You can call... It's a different party. That ideology, that kind of fire needs to be taken out of the Democratic Party because they're never going to concede to that. That's why it's important for folks like us, the radical individuals, the real progressives, need to formulate their own party. Now, I'm no political genius when it comes to forming parties, but hey, whatever needs to be done, just let me know and I'll try to do what I can. But I realize that the Democratic Party is not going to fight for what regular folks like myself need. Okay? That's not going to happen. I'm not going to get that. I tricked myself. And like I said, you can see the progression of my thinking, of my growing, of my evolution at the start of this YouTube channel. And that was almost a year ago. And it changed. And I kind of just being honest, like, you know what? I was wrong. The Democratic Party don't give a damn about me. So guess what? I don't give a damn about you. That simple.
I mean, do you acknowledge that Biden is better than Trump? I genuinely want to know, like, how do you assess? Do you see they're like roughly the same?
I think it depends on what metric they're using. There are people who will take everything that you just said and say, if Biden escalating in Ukraine the way he has been doing, missiles going off deeper, closer to Russia that are Western in origin, and the doomsday clock ticking down on World War III the way it has been done, cancels out all of the meaningful gains that you just articulated so nicely. If it comes down to World War III versus that litany of achievements that you just articulated, there are people that, with the hindsight of living in the nuclear holocaust, would say, well, I guess that Trump actually was a better president.
But I don't
Who's more likely to...
And you don't have to go to that extreme. I know a lot of black folks that now support Trump because, and weirdly enough, you know, they have businesses. They support Trump because they actually seen a difference financially when Trump was in office. Now, once again, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't own a business, so I can't really fathom that. I just have to take their word because I've heard this everywhere. It wasn't just one or two people. You know what I'm saying? So I would compare that to Kyle Kulinski's list of Democratic achievements. It's like, what about black folks? And, you know, not just black folks, but a lot of these Americans who own businesses or who wanted to start a business did that under Trump, and they were really successful. You think they gonna switch that in for your list of achievements from Biden? Don't think so. Once again, it depends on what policies impact your everyday life. And unfortunately, if Trump did that for folks in their businesses, that's a win. They're going to champion that. And guess what? They want more of that. That's why they're going to vote for Trump. But you telling me you want me to vote for Biden because he made companies like pay 1% when it comes to buy back shares or something like that? No, I don't even know how to say that correctly. You see what I'm saying? You want me to like jump for joy for that? Oh, come on, man. Like this is not even a real conversation.
To get us World War III, though, I definitely think it's Trump. I definitely think it's Trump more likely to get us World War III.
I don't want to know what people think.
You disagree?
I want to know what you think. Do you think that that's accurate? Because to me, I look at the record.
We don't know until history happens what history is going to do. I wouldn't have expected that under Biden we would have gotten in the middle of this war.
That's
Ukraine
true.
And Russia. I would not. That wasn't on my bingo card either.
Yeah, but we know that Trump was actually more hawkish towards Russia than
he built up on NATO's border.
Obama
he put troops on NATO's border.
We know what he did with Iran. We know he said he was going to get on Afghanistan. Biden actually did it. So we can evaluate these two claims. That we shouldn't believe anything.
But I gotta say, Trump said a lot of crazy things to these countries, and he didn't start no war. So I mean, if we can really, you know, and you know, to be fair, you know, Biden didn't, or at least from my knowledge, didn't start any war with Ukraine and Russia. But I mean, from the sources that I'm reading, Biden's not really doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? So, but once again, in the future, like Briahna said, in the future, in hindsight, then we could be able to kind of pinpoint what was done correctly and what was done incorrectly. But, you know, Trump, with all his craziness, didn't get us in any war, which I was surprised by that. I was getting ready. Every time I heard a plane fly by, I'm ducking. Oh, shit, is this it? Is this China? Oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't happen, so, you know.
That Donald Trump says about Ukraine.
A toxic. This is literally just a vote blue no matter who unless they're two.
No, it's a let's discuss the facts and how you weigh them conversation.
Here, how about this? Biden can be 10 times better than Trump.
Uh-oh.
Let's concede that for the sake of argument. I'm not voting for him. And millions of other people feel the same way because it has absolutely nothing to do with that. I don't know how else to express this to you guys. Kyle, it's not that there is a disinterest or a failure to recognize what are meaningful changes, but there is a realization that acknowledging gains when the possibility of what someone could be doing to help the population that elected them, when there is a huge gap there, it can be papered up by championing someone's accomplishments. And people are reluctant to give credit precisely because they think it will end the conversation about how much further people should be pushed. So it feels akin to saying, Jeff Bezos was walking down the street and he gave a $5 to a homeless person.
It's not that, oh my God.
Don't you want to pat him on the back? And it's like, well, yeah, on some level, I'm glad the homeless guy can give his sandwich. But
oh my God. Briahna. Like, oh my God, he is so animated, and he's not even making any good points whatsoever. It's like, bro, sit down. Do what your girlfriend is doing and just sit there. Just sit there and just... That's all you got to do. You being animated and you're making no good points. You're sitting here being a cheerleader for no reason. Okay, his football team is kicking field goals and he's just like, oh my God, like, we're doing something here. It's like, bro, we need touchdowns, okay? I don't know if you know how the game of football works, but we need some touchdowns, bro. You celebrating over field goals? Bro, the clock is ticking on a lot of us. We need some touchdowns, okay? We're already in the fourth quarter for a lot of people. Touchdowns is needed. And you celebrating over a field goal. I understand field goals are important. It gets you to the win, but you can kick all the field goals if you want. But if you down 30 points and you in the fourth quarter and you still think you're going to win, field goals ain't going to cut it. You're going to have to go on the fourth down. You might have to fire the head coach and get somebody new in there. So, I mean, I don't know how better to explain that, but
your framing of the student debt issue
is accurate.
Is precisely what the problem is.
It's not a problem. Look, I am actually discussing the facts that I learned through reading 1,000 articles on the case. Now, if I bring up those facts and it triggers some idiots into hating me, so be it. They can hate me all they want. The facts still matter.
What are you talking about?
Okay, I didn't expect him to appeal the cases. He appealed the cases. I didn't expect him to do the Higher Education Act after the Supreme Court slapped it down. He did the Higher Education Act. I didn't expect him to do any of it, and he did it. And this is something that, if I said early on, Biden's going to do nothing on student loan debt, everybody on the left would have been like, you're right, he's going to do nothing. Now he does 5, 6 different things on it, and it's like people go, no, doesn't count. I'm not saying what he's doing is perfect. Obviously, the best thing to do is to wipe it all out through executive order, and he has the authority to do that. That'd be the best thing to do. He didn't do that, but can we at least acknowledge?
No. Stop right there. He didn't do it. And he knows he can do it. He's been in government. He's been in politics his whole damn life. And he's pushing 80. Or is he older than that? I don't know. But he's old as hell. And he's been doing this for a long damn time. He's been vice president, for Pete's sake. He didn't do it. He missed the layup. That would have been an easy win. And he didn't do it. And in my opinion, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to mess up his reputation. He doesn't want to go down as that president, okay? So I hate how Kyle just glossed over that point. He did this. I mean, he could have, but he didn't. So can't we just still give him a pat on the back? It's like, no, brother. Just because your standards is low doesn't mean mine have to be either. Whatever word fits in there. You see what I'm saying? So once again, Kyle, step your game up.
Acknowledge the facts of what went down. And I see this rugged insistence. Honestly, it's like Biden derangement syndrome among some people on the left. And it's like
we're crazy.
Democrat
we are
derangement
crazy.
syndrome among some people on the left. The fact that we can't all agree very quickly that, well, obviously Democrats are not 10 times better than Republicans. They're 100 times better than Republicans. And even if you are somebody who's a purist and you're on the left, you can acknowledge a W in the instances you get it while still pushing for more. I mean, a perfect example is what's happening in Minnesota right now. Minnesota has a 1-seat Democrat majority.
Let me just add this in because he's just going to keep talking. You can't push the Democratic Party to do more if they don't want to do more. I've been thinking that the whole time. That's the only thing that has been keeping me a Democrat, is hoping that we can push them to do more with the Bernie Sanders, with the Marianne Williamsons, with the Cornel West, with the crazy Republicans. You would think that will push them to do more. And then we'll know after, the results of what's going to happen with Cornel West running. If he threatens the Democratic Party enough and nothing still results after that, the Democratic Party is not going to do more, no matter how much you try to push. You know what I'm saying? So I gave up on that train I jumped off that train a long time ago. Okay, I'm 36. I'm not going to keep wasting my votes for a party that I'm going to keep hoping that will do something. No, I'm going to utilize my vote so when I'm on my deathbed, I could be like, at least I voted the way that I wanted to. And I wasn't swindled. I wasn't tricked. I wasn't lied to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that.
Majority. We got universal free school meals, legal weed, carbon-free electricity by 2040, tax rebates for the working class up to $1,300 if you make under $150,000 a year, 12 weeks paid family leave, 12 weeks paid sick leave. They banned conversion therapy. They did red flag laws for guns. They did universal background checks for guns. They did automatic voter registration, public free college if you make under 80K, a ban on PFAs, which is the forever chemicals, $2.2 billion increase in K-12 school funding, sectoral bargaining for nursing home workers. These things are all not little wins. They are.
What do you say about nursing? Once again, what the hell that got to do with my everyday life? What the hell are you talking about?
Huge wins. And I still see this insistence like we're back in 2016 or something where people are like, nope, Democrats and Republicans are either equally bad or actually jujitsu move, Republicans are the lesser evil. And I think it's idiotic. It's doomerist. It's nihilist. It's people who are refusing to acknowledge reality, and they'd rather narrative hump all day talking about Democrats are so bad, Democrats are so bad, Democrats are so bad, but oh yeah, I'm a leftist.
Going back to the student debt point, it is kind of telling to me, Kyle, that you so quickly, you injected your own low subjective, personal, and low expectations into the argument to say, well, because Joe Biden did more than I subjectively believed was possible, you're accusing me of minimizing the accomplishments. I think that you might be minimizing his failures and the extent to which that he knowingly, it seems, lied about what he was willing to do and, in fact, dramatically underachieved his campaign promises. And for you, that might be a hop, skip, and a jump. Okay, but he did more than I expect. You're setting your expectations lower than the expectations that he set for the American public in the context of his campaign. And I completely respect and appreciate that that doesn't bother you as much as it bothers me. I don't know if it's because I have experienced six-figure student debt. I don't know your life. I'm not trying to make any presumptions about it. I don't know if it's because I had a certain kind of life experiences or that other people who kind of share my view have these kind of life experiences. But for millions of us, 44 million in fact, that kind of bait and switch is unforgivable when you recognize, as you have both recognized, that it was in his power to sign an executive order to deliver overwhelmingly for the people whose votes he needs right now. So the argument is not with me. The argument is with the millions of Americans who feel betrayed by Joe Biden and his campaign promises. If we have a contract agreement for you to fix the hole in my roof and I give you $100, and you come into my house and instead you restage my living room and it looks beautiful, that simply wasn't the agreement. And so I am fine. I'm happy to acknowledge the furniture placement is gorgeous. I love the floral arrangements, but that's not what we bargained for. And if your desire is to push the Democratic Party left, you have to. Chris Hedges says this all the time. It's a politics of fear. If you are more afraid of electing Trump than the Democratic Party is, you are never going to be able to exert any leverage on them at all. And I understand that's a risky position. I understand Trump getting reelected is scary. I understand that there are meaningful ways in which he's hurt real people in real ways. I understand all of that. And we just have a difference of opinion about what the priorities are. You said in that viral clip, Crystal.
All right. I think that is good right there. Let's go ahead, switch this. Ooh, that was crazy. So, and I think Kyle, he said it best. He said, all these, Democrats complaining about Joe Biden. He didn't do this, he didn't do that, and he sucks, and this and this, and Democrats are just as bad as Republicans, but call themselves a leftist. That does seem a little hypocritical, and that's why I appreciate Cornel West not running as a Democrat, because he knows you can't be in that party and fully critique it properly if you're in that same party. Because if you think so bad about that party, why are you repping that party then? So I think how politics is shaping up, I think it's time that we have 4 parties, because it's a real weird mix, because you have your kind of conservative, like real conservative Republicans, but then you got your MAGA, your really extreme right. Then you got your liberal Democrats, your centrists, your Joe Biden, type of supporters. But then you have the Bernie Sanders, the Cornel West, the actual progressives. You know what I'm saying? So it feels like we have essentially 4 parties. I just don't understand why we just can't have 4 parties. You know what I'm saying? You got to jump through a million loops and hoops and dupes and everything just to get 5% when it comes to voting, which is weird. So I think Briahna, she held her own. She definitely should have brought some backup, because when you're arguing against 2 people who have the same perspectives, you're going to lose the number game. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think she was absolutely right for her position. She's arguing with someone who is comfortable in the Democratic Party, who's all their expectations is being met. And we know as the radical left that the government should and can do more for the American people, and they're just not doing that for selfish reasons. And we need to push the government to do more. That's a whole different party. So when you're trying to speak to someone who is comfortable, you're not going to change their mind, because they're chilling. They ain't got no stress. They ain't got no worries. So why would they rock the boat? Why would they do that? So it's almost a losing conversation when you're talking to folks like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but once again, it's almost been an hour. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think the radical left, folks like Briahna, should just like follow suit and just vote for Biden and just hope for the best, that the Democratic Party will just one day grow a heart like the Cowardly Lion and just, maybe do something for people? Or do we just need to finally show the Democratic Party that, hey, we ain't scared. We're not going to fall for these scare tactics. You're not going to fear monger us to the ballot. You need to actually do something for us in a radical way, because that's what people need in a society that we live in now. That's what we need. We don't need no more breadcrumbs. We want the whole loaf of bread and some. Right? But if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. And like always, let's have that conversation.